Hello dear learners. After this today's video, you will be able to understand the meaning and concept of ecotourism. You will know about various ecotourism destinations in India and will make you aware about the importance of the ecotourism. You will know about characteristics and principles of ecotourism, and you will know about various initiatives taken by the governments for the development of the ecotourism. Dear learners, with the development and progress in technology and transportation infrastructure, most of the exotic and offbeat spots on the globe are in hold of the travelers. Nowadays, tourism industry is the world's largest industry with one of the fastest growing segment, and the name of segment is ecotourism or nature tourism. Nowadays, people they try to experience nature and the famous tourist spots in the world, but should try to undertake these activities without affecting the nature. In order to the increasing trend of getting the first-hand nature's experience, a different form of tourism has emerged, and it is called as ecotourism. It is a form of tourism which encourages environmental philosophy and intensity and travel to experience exotic and pristine areas. The tourism activity which involve travel to natural areas or areas of ecological interest for the purpose of experiencing wildlife and learning about the ecology and environment is termed as ecotourism. In this video, we will try to examine some of the basics and the key concepts and components of ecotourism. These concepts lie on the core of meaning, components, understanding and importance of ecotourism in tourism sector. Dear learners, ecotourism is originated from two different words. One is ecosystem and second is tourism. When we combine the both terms, it is made ecotourism. To understand the concept of ecotourism, first we have to understand ecosystem. Ecosystem is defined as a system in which we live. An ecosystem includes all the living things such as animals, plants and organisms in a given area interacting with each other and also with their non-living environments such as weather, sun, soil, earth, atmosphere is termed as ecosystem. But there is no such specific and certain scale used to measure and explain an ecosystem. Thus, the term ecosystem does not definitely agree to the term biome or ecological zone, but may also refer to any functioning unit at any scale. It could be, for example, the sea, a pond, a forest, the river, a biome, or the whole biosphere. And tourism means the activity in which one travels from one place to another place, usually outside from his or her residence, and stays there at least 24 hours, but not more than one consecutive year for the purpose of leisure, pleasure, except the remunerative one. This phenomena is termed as tourism. Thus, a tourism which involves a visit to an ecosystem is known as ecotourism. Ecotourism not only involves travel to natural areas, but also preserving them from harm or destruction. In a layman's language, ecotourism is defined as a significant economic activity in pristine area, provides economic value to ecosystem services, helps to create income for the preservation of natural areas and endangered species, help to create direct and indirect income for local people, encourage effective utilization of available natural resources, and minimize threats to biodiversity. Ecotourism, also known as ecological tourism, is a form of tourism that appeals to ecologically and socially conscious individuals. Generally speaking, ecotourism focuses on volunteering, personal growth, and learning new ways to live on the planet. It typically involves travel to destinations where flora, fauna, and cultural heritage are the primary attractions. Responsible ecotourism includes programs that minimize the negative aspects of conventional tourism on the environment and enhance the cultural integrity of local people. Therefore, in addition to evaluating environmental and cultural factors, an integral part of ecotourism is the promotion of recycling, energy efficiency, water conservation, and creation of economic opportunities for the local communities. Now, let's understand the criteria. According to the definition and principles of ecotourism established by the International Ecotourism Society TIES in 1990, ecotourism is responsible travel to natural area that conserve the environment and improves the well-being of the local people. Those who implement and participate in ecotourism activities should follow the following principles of ecotourism: of minimize impact, build environmental and cultural awareness and respect, provide positive experiences for both visitors and hosts, provide financial benefits and empowerment for the local people, raise the sensitivity to host countries' political, environmental, and social climate ideally. Ecotourism should satisfy several criteria such as conservation of biological diversity and cultural diversity through ecosystem protection, promotion of sustainable use of biodiversity by providing jobs to local populations, sharing of socio-economic benefits with local communities and indigenous people by having their informed consent and participation in the management of ecotourism enterprises. Tourism to unspoiled natural resources with minimal impact on the environment being a primary concern. Minimization of tourism's own environmental impact, affordability, and a lack of waste in the form of luxury, local culture, flora, and fauna being the main attractions. For many countries, ecotourism is not simply a marginal activity to finance protection of the environment, but is a major industry of the national economy. For example, in Costa Rica, Ecuador, Nepal, Kenya, Madagascar, and Antarctica, ecotourism represents a significant portion of the gross domestic product and economic activity. The concept of ecotourism is widely misunderstood and in practice is often used as a marketing tool to promote tourism which is related to nature. This is an especially frequent malpractice in the realm of jungle tourism. Critics claim that these greenwashing practices carried out in the name of ecotourism often consist of placing a hotel in a splendid landscape to the detriment of the ecosystem. According to them, ecotourism must above all sensitize people to the beauty and the fragility of nature. They condemn some operators as greenwashing their operations, using the label of green and eco-friendly while behaving in environmentally irresponsible ways. Evolution of ecotourism. In the late 70s, the worldwide movement for environment protection and lowering the greenhouse gases emission gave birth to the popularity of ecotourism. The recent development in the concept of ecotourism evolved with some new paradigm shift to more responsible form of tourism, such as sustainable tourism, community-based tourism, and green tourism. Since 1980, ecotourism has been observed as a crucial factor by environmental lovers in the direction of environment protection and sustainable development. So, the new generations may experience tourist destinations in an environmentally stable state and with the scope of learning and education, which results in conservation and preservation of nature and culture while addressing concerns related to economic benefits of local community. Dear learners, Ecotourism, responsible tourism, jungle tourism, and sustainable development had become prevalent concept since the late 90s, 80s. And ecotourism has experienced arguably the fastest growth of all subsectors in the tourism industry. The popularity represents a change in tourist perceptions, increased environmental awarenesses, and a desire to explore natural environments. Such changes have become as much a statement affirming one's social identity, educational sophistication, and disposable income as it has about preserving the maybe like Amazon rainforest or the Caribbean reef for posterity. Responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment and improves the well-being of the local people. And this definition was given by the International Ecotourism Society in 1990. Ecotourism must contain three basic elements for it to be complete. It must provide for environmental conservation. It must include meaningful local community participation. It must be viable profitability to enable it to sustain itself. To approach an understanding of the problem, a clear definition must delineate what is and is not ecotourism. Ideally, ecotourism satisfies several general criteria, including the conservation of biological diversity and cultural diversity through ecosystem protection, promotion of sustainable use of biodiversity, share of socio-economic benefits with local communities through informed consent, and participation. In case in environmental and cultural knowledge, affordability and reduced waste and minimization of its own environmental impact. In such ways, it contributes to the long-term benefits to both the environment and local communities. However, in the continuum of tourism activities that stretch from conventional tourism to ecotourism proper, there has been a lot of contention to the limit at which biodiversity, preservation, local socio-economic benefits, and environmental impact can be considered ecotourism. For this reason, environmentalists, special interest groups, and governments define ecotourism differently. Environmental organizations have generally insisted that ecotourism is nature-based, sustainability managed, conservation sporting, and environmentally educated. The tourist industry and governments, however, focus more on the product aspect, treating ecotourism as equivalent to any sort of tourism based in nature. As a further complication, many terms are used under the rubric of ecotourism. Nature tourism, low impact tourism, green tourism, biotourism, ecological responsible tourism, and other have been used in literature and marketing, although they are not necessarily synonymous with the ecotourism. The problems associated with defining ecotourism has led to confusion among us tourists and academics alike. Definitional problems are also subject of considerable public controversy and concern because of greenwashing, a trend towards the commercialization of tourism scheme disguised as sustainable, nature-based and environmentally friendly ecotourism. According to McLaren, these schemes are environmentally destructive, economically exploitative, and culturally insensitive at its worst. They are also morally disconcerting because they mislead tourists and manipulate their concerns for the environment. Despite objections, greenwashing continues to grow unabated. The Nature Sacred Paradise, a theme park in Quintana Roo, Mexico, is responsible for displacing local Mayan community and illegally keeping endangered species in captivity to attract visitors. The development and success of such large scale, energy intensive, and ecologically sustainable schemes are a treatment or testament to the tremendous profits associated with being labeled as ecotourism. The ecotourism system exercises tremendous financial and political influence. The evidence above shows that at the very least a strong case exists for restraining such activities. Funding could be used for field studies aimed at finding alternative solutions to tourism and the diverse problems Africa faced in the result of urbanization, industrialization, and overexploitation of agriculture. At the local level, ecotourism has become a source of conflict over control of land, resources, and tourism profits. There are many problems with the idea of ecotourism. Environmental, the effects on the local people, and conflicts over profit distributions are only a few of the negative effects of ecotourism. In a perfect world, more efforts would be made towards educating tourists of the environmental and social effects of their travels. Very few regulations or laws stand in place as boundaries for the investors in ecotourism. Ecotourism operations occasionally fail to live up to the conservation ideals. It is sometimes overlooked that ecotourism is a highly consumer-centered activity and that environmental conservation is a mean to further economic growth. Although ecotourism is intended for small groups, even a modest increase in population, however, temporarily puts extra pressure on the local environment and necessitates the development of additional infrastructures and amenities. The construction of water treatment plants, sanitation facilities, and lodges come with the exploitation of non-renewable energy sources and the utilization of already limited local resources. The conservation of natural land to such tourist infrastructure is implicated in deforestation and habitat deterioration of butterflies in Mexico and squirrel monkeys in Costa Rica. In other cases, the environment suffers because local communities are unable to meet the infrastructure demands of ecotourism. The lack of adequate sanitation facilities in many East African parks results in the disposal of campsite sewage in river, contaminating the wildlife, livestock, and people who draw drinking water from it. Characteristics of ecotourism. There are various characteristics of ecotourism, and these are: focuses small group of people travel to natural areas, result in promoting environmental awarenesses among the tourists and locals, ensures fiscal benefits for preservation of the area, strengthen local communities, respect local tradition and customs, ensures protection of human rights and activities such as conservation of ecological and cultural sustainability through ecosystem protection. Dear learner, let's have a look on the principles of ecotourism. These are: adopt low impact tourism activity that protects ecological natural areas, highlight the biodiversity richness and their values, build environmental and cultural awarenesses, encourage environmental conservation and cultural preservation, encourage the sustainability of ecotourism enterprises and activities, promote community participation, provide employment opportunity to the local people. Dear learners, let's have a look on the importance and significance of the ecotourism. This ecotourism provides essential economic benefits for the conservation and strengthening the biocultural diversity and helps to preserve the natural and cultural heritage of Earth. Here are a few points in support of ecotourism. Like, it helps to reduce threats to biodiversity, it encourages sustainable use of natural resources, it helps to generate income for local investors and residents, It helps to generate direct income for the preservation of the natural areas, and it gives economic value to ecosystem services, an important economic activity in natural area. Dear learners, let's discuss about the ecotourism in India. The geographical features of India are blessed with number of tourist spots. Almost each and every region of the country is full of the number of places providing tourists a lot of option to explore ecotourism spots. If we start wandering in the northern part of India, the monastery and Himalayan glaciers of Ladakh are the major attractions, or wandering to rich coffee estates and world well known quite in serene backwaters of Kerala and south are getting a charge out of the mountaineering in Kanchenjunga mountains in northeast, or enjoying camel safari tours in Thar desert in western part of country. The opportunities for ecotourism spots are scattered all around. India is vast geographical area which provides extensive range of ecotourism opportunities in diverse natural and exotic settings. 103 national parks, 537 wildlife sanctuaries spreading across the length and breadth of the country, safeguarding the habitat of large number of flora and fauna provides great scope for the ecotourism development in India. Besides, many of the dense forests, mountains and rivers offer an extensive variety of ecotourism activities like mountaineering, rock climbing, trekking, mountain biking, nature walking, wildlife viewing and river rafting. Dear learner, it is also pertinent to understand the impacts of these ecotourism. There are some positive and negative impacts of ecotourism, and we can place them like, firstly, let's discuss about some negative impacts. That source of conflict over control of land, assets and resources and tourism profits, environmental degradation and displacement of people, disturbance to the nature's flora and fauna. In addition to this, there are certain positive impacts are also like economic development. Tourism is currently world's largest and fastest growing sector of economy and the largest source of the foreign exchange. Employment generation and income opportunities for the local community. Environmental protection, as nature becomes the source of employment and income for local people, they become more aware about the protection of the natural and cultural assets in the region. Dear learners, let's have a look on the government initiatives. There are so many steps to be taken to promote ecotourism in India, and these are as follows. Government should take steps to protect the nature, local culture, traditional knowledge, genetic resources and rights to land and property. 2. All important natural sites should be provided with proper infrastructure like road, telecommunication, water, electricity, hotels, transports, guides, etc. Government should provide incentives to tourism operations and services providers in those areas. Government should arrange the educational programs for youth to increase awareness about nature, conservation and sustainable use. Government can lay emphasis on building local capacity and enhancing local benefits. The Ministry of Tourism has the specific agenda to promote tourism in the country in a responsible and sustainable manner. And as per this mandate, promotion of ecotourism assumes larger importance. Dear learners, if we summarize this today's video, we can say that ecotourism is an important economic activity in natural area. While there is a general support for a symbiotic relationship between the two, tourism and the environment, the situation is that the local residents lay more stress on the tourism development, though the tourists concentrate on environmental protection. It encourages sustainable use of natural resources and diminishes risk to biodiversity and is proves to be economically profitable. So let us commit towards this brilliant practice and hope that this can change our world. As we have discussed, that India is having more than 100 national parks. India is having more than 500 wildlife areas. Why not we can tap the tourism potential of those things? And we can provide benefits to the local community also. Dear learners, the most important thing in this ecotourism, these are the two factors. One is the nature and second is the local community. Just in a layman definition, if any tourism which is in harmony with the nature, and second criteria is any tourism which is providing benefits to the local community. If that particular kind of tourism satisfied these both the things, we can definitely place that kind of tourism in the form of the ecotourism. If not, then that form is not an ecotourism. Thank you very much.